Hello everybody, it's me, Emelena, and today I want to talk about my near-death experience. The reason I've decided to make a video about this is because on one of my previous videos, somebody actually left a comment asking, hey, would you go more into detail about what you experienced when you died, if you want to. And I talked about it a little bit on stream, a couple of streams ago, but I wanted to make a video because I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about the feelings that I had, what I experienced, and why it was actually sort of a negative experience for me. Versus what you hear from a lot of people. Now, you might know this if you've ever looked up near-death experiences or watched videos or read books about it, but a lot of people report a very positive experience. They say they come back enlightened, they come back with some kind of talent, they come back with a reinvigorated for life. And I really didn't experience any of that. What I did experience is a belief in God and the afterlife after I came back. Now, I was an atheist prior to that, or agnostic. It really depended on the day. I didn't really know, and it was never relevant to my life to give a shit about whether or not God was there. For the longest time, I didn't believe, and I found no reason to put much thought into it. And then I started thinking maybe he is there, or he or she or it or they are there. And then I started thinking, well, there's no proof, and so there's no reason to think about it. And I looked at the absolute shit state of the world and thought, if there is a God, then he is a very bad manager. Very bad at managing this planet Earth that he created and put life on. I died back in 2017 and I was out for 32 seconds. And it was due to a suicide attempt, and I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital before I got transferred to a mental institution. And again, I was out for 32 seconds, and I remember seeing my body, seeing the people, I died and everything went dark. There was silence, and then slowly it just became darker and darker and darker. And I remember seeing my body on the table and seeing the people trying to resuscitate me, but immediately I kind of just went upwards, and I was in this darkness, and I couldn't feel my body anymore. I couldn't feel any sensations anymore. And I just remember being really scared and being afraid of what was going to come next. And I wasn't sure if I was fully dead or not. I didn't really know what was going on. And I have to reiterate that this was not a hallucination. I know you all know I have schizophrenia. A lot of people write this off as a hallucination or a delusion that I had, or a dream that I had while I was dying. This felt more real than anything I've ever felt in my life. If this was a dream or hallucination, it was an extremely strong one, and I'm of the opinion that it was a real experience, and that what I experienced was the afterlife. I know you probably hear a lot of people talk about a light at the end of the tunnel. I did see a light at the end of the tunnel. This is very real. I saw a light eventually come through, piercing all this darkness around me. And I was moving towards it. And after I entered the light, I felt the presence of people around me who had died, family and friends, but I couldn't see them. I remember there was the name Mary, and I do have an Aunt Mary who died, and I also have a lot of close family members who died. And I remember feeling this warmth of the people who had died around me. And that stopped pretty quickly, at least as far as I can remember. But one thing I want to point out is that time on the other side doesn't seem to exist. I call it zero time because it's everything happens at once, and it's really hard to explain, but it's time isn't moving forward or backwards or in any which way. It's just things are happening, and I don't know how to put it into words. But I did see my life flash before my eyes. That's also real. People talk about their life flashing before their eyes. I saw that too, and I saw all of my actions and inactions and how those affected people around me, the words that I said or didn't say, and how that impacted friends, family, strangers. I saw all these things that I had done in my past and what kind of impact that had on others around me. And that was really, really impactful. And I'll explain, how that's changed who I am soon enough. And so after that, I remember seeing all these colors. And these are not colors that you would see on Earth. I said this when I talked about this on stream, but green was not green, blue was not blue, pink was not pink. There were thousands upon thousands of all these different colors resonating against each other. And it was such a beautiful sight. And then through all these colors, I felt the presence of something almighty, which I believe was God. And I got this feeling that what I am doing is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and that being a writer is in my cards, so to speak. And that is a hobby of mine, is writing, and it's my passion, and it's something I want to do as a career. And I basically felt that I was told that I'm supposed to write. Now, after that, I felt this disconnect and dark, because I felt like I was being sucked back into the darkness, and then I was awake. And that was very painful. Being resuscitated and being brought back was very painful, and I didn't like it. And it felt very negative, and I felt everything was loud and obnoxious and like making my ears ring, and like nothing felt right to me after what I had just experienced. Now, when I came back, I realized that there's no way God doesn't exist. Like, to me, that is a done deal. There's no questioning anymore. It's not up for discussion or debate. There is 100% a God. There is 100% an afterlife. And there is a journey that we are on that continues after death. And I do believe in reincarnation thanks to this experience. I believe that we are infinitely reborn in different lives, and we're here to experience things. And I believe that it's sort of like a roller coaster ride for our souls. Like, this is an amusement park, Earth is, and we come here to experience a beginning and an end, and because our souls are infinite. And I can't explain to you where all these thoughts came from. It's just like what I experienced when I saw those colors. It made me feel that like I was an infinite soul that had existed for millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions, billions and trillions of years. And that everything that we experience here on Earth is just repetitive and recycled, and there's nothing new under the sun, because we've lived for trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of times, right? And one thing that dying taught me was that be careful with your words and your actions and your inactions and your lack of words, because of how they impact other people. Now, I told this story on stream about someone I used to know who told me that me and the few other people who were kind to him in school, because he was picked on and heavily outcasted, right? We kept him from killing himself, or as you should say, unaliving himself, because YouTube is stupid. And that's like, your words and the things you say and do really can impact other people and change their lives. And that's why I believe that I'm supposed to write, that something I write is supposed to change somebody's life. Maybe a few people's lives, I don't know. And now that may be egotistical, and I may be thinking too highly of myself, but that is what I felt, the message that I got when I died. And I truly believe that there are some people who are meant to be atheists, that are meant to be evil, that are meant to be contrarian, that everybody is made a particular way, that they say and do the things that they're supposed to do for a particular reason. Now, an example I'll give of this is Asimov, who is a staunch atheist, like hardcore atheist, didn't believe in God, famous for saying the quote, like, extraordinary claims require extraordinary... Wait, was that him that said that? You know what? It doesn't matter. I believe that was him that said that. I believe he was supposed to be like a form of opposition, so that we questioned God, we questioned our place in the universe, so that we weren't just like slaves to this reality that God has put us in, right? I believe that there are important people who have important messages, whether they're believers or non-believers, for this earth, and that everybody has something to offer if you're just willing to listen. One thing I will say is that I did feel like reality twisting into itself. It was a very strange feeling. I remember seeing these really huge structures that I can't really explain. They weren't anything humans built or anything like that, but I felt like reality was twisting into itself, and I am of the mind that this was me being resuscitated, right? And that's about it. What dying taught me is that everything you say and do has a reaction, or can cause other people to feel hurt and pain. And so you should really be mindful of the things you say and do, and that everybody here has a reason to be here. and that your impact on earth is not minimal, and that, you know, the very act of you being born changes your friends, your family, and events around you. And so nobody is not supposed to be here. Nobody is useless. And your life is worth living, no matter how bad it may be, no matter how sad you may be, no matter how much you feel like you don't want to exist. Your life is important, and it's here for a reason.